Why did Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel walk out on Chance the Rapper, who attended a city council meeting? I'm not really sure. Let's break this down a little bit. You may know Chance the Rapper is a Grammy award-winning artist, but he is also a very civically engaged Chicagoan. He wants to make sure that the kids of Chicago receive a proper public education. He's even funded up to $1 million of his own money into serving public education. He's also raised millions more through outside sources. When he attended a city council meeting, he was there to oppose Rahm Emanuel's efforts to invest $95 million into a brand new police academy for the city. Now, seems like the mayor stepped out, but we do have a video clip of what Chance the Rapper said. Let's take a look.
I guess the mayor had to step out when I came up, but it's cool. It's cool because I'm here to talk to you guys right now. I think you guys are familiar with the work that I've been doing. Doing a lot of work with, no, thank you guys. I only got so much time. Working very closely with Ford Academy, which is right down the street from where this proposed police academy is going to be at. The school, with just $100,000 in 3 years, is about to make some transformative changes. It'd be awesome, though, if we could get them pools at their school, or a library, new libraries, or a museum, or any of the things that are proposed in the budget for this $95 million cop academy. It's a very simple thing that you guys have to do. We should understand that financially, this proposed plan doesn't make sense. We don't have $95 million. They're just asking for $10 million today to purchase the land, but we don't have the rest of the money to do it. So why let them go ahead with this right now? There's a lot of different services that need to be funded. Mental health services, which I'm very sure you heard people say before. Obviously, schooling is my big thing, but there's a lot of ways to transform the city that don't have anything to do with police training.
So to provide a little more context about what Chance is referring to, in the wake of a scathing federal investigation into Chicago's police department, Emanuel proposed a $95 million police and firefighter training center in July to get the department back on its feet after the Justice Department found it had severely deficient training and used excessive force on people of color. But a lot of people are saying that the plan doesn't make sense. That's what Chance was there to protest. Also, he's citing that there have been widespread school closures and looming interest payments of over $1 billion in the coming decades, and maybe that's where they should be focusing the city's resources. Other opponents of this proposition take issue with spending so much, even though Dean Angelo, the head of Chicago's police union, has vigorously disputed the DOJ's findings in their investigation, among them that the CPD targeted people of color. So there's a lot going on here. I'm just a little curious about why the mayor stepped out when perhaps his most civically and publicly engaged citizen took the mic. What do you think was happening here?
So if you ask, full disclosure, this is what I'm talking about today on today's breakdown. So I did a deeper dive into this. It's a very interesting story. It's kind of like a microcosm of what is going on in communities of color and how they're underfunded consistently across the country, and how we deal with certain problems that arise in those communities. So it's a very interesting story. So let's start from the top. First of all, by the way, Rahm Emanuel, Chance the Rapper's dad was Rahm Emanuel's top aide until recently. So their connection runs deep. But aside from that, like, they've had an ongoing conversation, and I think because Chance is such a good guy and has done so much for Chicago public schools, he's raised $2.2 million in the past year alone for the arts programs in Chicago. And it's very difficult for Rahm to like genuinely face him and be like, no, we need more policing in this neighborhood. That's how we'll stop the violence, especially as a Democratic mayor. So let me give you guys some facts. So $95 million is the cost of this fire and police training academy that they're putting together. And Chicago currently has a massive problem of attrition. There's a lot of police officers that are leaving the force, there are a lot that are retiring, and some that are being fired. So they need to make it as sexy as possible to become a police officer. Now, they're starting this in the West Side, which is a problematic neighborhood. So they sold a, hold on, I'm gonna give you the exact detail because I want to do the story justice. So they sold the river site to private industry to accumulate some funds, but they don't have $95 million. They only had 20, 10 of which was allocated to the land, just the land to purchase, to put this fire and police academy onto. And what Chance was arguing was that, look, with $100,000 just across the street, we made transformative changes in this school alone. And because certain social budgets are so underfunded in Chicago, how are you going to justify a $95 million police academy when we don't have the rest of the money to even build the police academy? Why don't we take these funds and actually redistribute them back into social programs that desperately need it? Now, Chicago actually had to borrow $275 million from JP Morgan and Chase recently because they have a massive pension problem. They can't pay pensions off for teachers, and then on top of that, still have and still be able to fund their schools properly. There's currently a case, I believe, ongoing where Chicago public school systems are only getting 15% of the state budget, but actually host 20% of the state's entire eligible, like school eligible youth. And they believe that it is obviously somewhat, maybe a little bit racist, because 90% of the CPS is students of color. 90% of it is Black and Hispanic students.
Yeah, Mark, I want to get your response to this story.
Well, no, this is really interesting stuff from Hasan, because I didn't know the relationship between Chance the Rapper, the father, and the mayor. So that was kind of interesting. The cops and helping them and funding them and throwing money at a new police training program, that's good politics for Rahm Emanuel, and that's the reason I suspect that he gravitated toward that solution. Clearly, Chance is right. That's where the money should go, into social programs, into all these programs that Chance has identified, particularly if they don't have the money to actually step up with the rest of the plan. So I think on this one, and I didn't know that Chance the Rapper had contributed so much of his own money to these many programs in Chicago. I mean, not the Trump donation where he kind of pledges it and then he doesn't actually write the check.
Yeah.
This actually happened. I think that the Chicago mayor pulled away, as Hasan had mentioned, because he probably couldn't face the music, and he politically made a decision that is all about politics and less about helping his city.
Yeah, they still voted overwhelmingly in favor. They're buying the lot. Like 48-1 was the final count, and they're still going forward with this program. But by the way, Rahm Emanuel's reaction was that when asked, like, why did you leave before Chance had his 3 minutes, he got up and said, oh, well, I had to step out to call my mom and congratulate her for her 85th birthday. And then when they further asked, like, so why are we still going forward with the funding of this police academy, he said, well, this will help the economy of the West Side because of the overwhelming amount of the overwhelming amount of like candidates and police that are going to be in that neighborhood will supply the local economy in ways that we can't foresee yet, and also it'll provide a sense of safety. Now, community policing is incredibly important, and there are plenty of studies that back this up, and I think overall, I don't think it's as nefarious. It's not as black and white. This is not an awful idea versus what Chance is saying is a much better idea. I think training is incredibly necessary. It's vital in most instances, especially if they have, and Chicago has a lot of interesting diversity programs that they're starting now, especially if they are able to bring some of these youths from certain neighborhoods to go and police those neighborhoods in the end. Like if you have actually black cops from the South Side growing up and then policing their own neighborhoods, that's a good step in the right direction. You know what I mean?
And look, you said a lot, but I would say that that's true. That probably a lot of what the Chicago mayor says is accurate. That it will help that area economically. It's also true that they have a real problem with the Chicago cops and these incidents that seem to be racially motivated. So they need to do something. You can't just pretend that didn't happen. And he's feeling political heat. He's also feeling legitimate heat. I mean, the heat of a community that's outraged. And so you do need to retrain the cops. So there's some of this. It's not exactly a situation which is clear cut. Having said that, it does appear that I was unaware of all the stuff that Chance the Rapper knows about this community, and I suspect his recommendations are sound.
Yeah, and I also think that it's just frustrating that as a public servant, you walk out and it's sort of a cop out for those 3 minutes that Chance the Rapper has the floor, because you know it's going to put you in a tricky spot. And I am disappointed in that response. Even if you disagree, you're a public servant. Engage with your citizens. That's the least that you can do. We have to move on to our
plug one charity I think is amazing.
Yeah, please plug a
specifically
charity.
Related to this. So obviously Chance has his own charity, which is great. You can find that out on the internet by Googling it. But the one I want to talk about is ontheblock.org. It's Mothers Against Senseless Killing Mask. It's literally moms going out and sitting on the block with youths and trying to uplift their communities. They have soirees. So go donate some money, check them out. They're actually pretty awesome. I remember listening to the founder, and it was so impactful that it like stuck with me. Yeah, so check them out. Mothers Against Senseless Killing, ontheblock.org.
Help us build independent media together. tytnetwork.com/join.